Had to get the mood going, the dragon's blood going, the yellow candle going because it's Sunday. We're talking about Mercury and Pluto, cardinal Earth energy. Conjunct. Mercury is actually in Aquarius now because this was conjunct on Friday. It's Sunday. We're talking about these two big three placements, the sun and the ascendant, and how these blended energies represent these energies, these blended planets. Let's get it. But first, let's tap into what, and I'm holding the South Node because it's bookmarked. I'm using the book. It's a bookmark for right now. I'm using the book, the Rulership Guide by Rez Bill. I haven't used this book in a while because it was in my storage. And again, I just moved into my new place 6 weeks ago now. And I found this book. Just showed you a book that I just recently bought. The Signs and Sky Mates book by the Savior, my favorite astrologer. Her name is Scorpio Mystique on Instagram, as well as scorpiomystique.com is her website. Awesome book if you're looking into astrological compatibility. Part 1 was all about my astrological compatibility with Lord Hikasol Ra, and how she's a Scorpio rising but a Sagittarius sun, because these deal with rising and sun as well, which most astrology does when you're talking about yourself, your ego, who you really are. And but this is mostly sun signs. It was based on sun Sagittarius and sun Scorpio relationship compatibility, but it has all of them in here. That's why it's 700 pages long. I was just reading my part, which is why it's bookmarked, or was, because I put it in the back now. But yeah, let's talk about Mercury. And again, Mercury is currently in Aquarius. I put 27 here because it was Pluto's at 28. And this is the only 28 I have in red for cardinal Earth, because they're both in Capricorn or were. But Mercury is the inner planet. It's a personal planet. Has to do with us as individuals. And Pluto is the outer planet. It's a collective planet, which has to do with like generations, okay? As a society and as a whole. When they're conjunct, you're working with you as an individual in society. So anyway, Mercury moves faster. So Mercury is currently in Aquarius. It was in retrograde in Capricorn for a long time. Big lessons have happened in the last couple of months, y'all. Big lessons. Retrograde season is over. It doesn't pop up again until April. So thank God all that's over with. But now the Mercury is in a whole new sign. Pluto's getting ready to move into a whole new sign a month from next week. Like we have 5 more weeks with Pluto in Aquarius, because Pluto moves slow, because it retrogrades for long periods of time too. When Pluto moves into Aquarius next month, it'll go back into Capricorn when it retrogrades in 2023 for about 4 or 5 months, and then it'll move back into Aquarius at the beginning of 2024. That's a little bit. Let's talk about Mercury. And so this is just like a little dictionary. I'm just going to give you little excerpts. It talks about what the signs rule, what the planets rule, and even the houses. So when I go over the houses, this is going to be a little long, but this is like a lecture on how we can really focus on life's purposes, with certain specific transits that have to do with us as individuals and collective, because we're all experiencing this. Conjunction again, blended energies. So Mercury, in and out of Capricorn, Mercury, the planet, represents these following characteristics. I'm not going to read all of them. I'm just going to read ones that really stand out to me and I'm led to tell you all. Mercury has these characteristics, and then when it goes into a certain sign, it uses that sign's characteristics. So we'll read about Capricorn characteristics tying into Mercury. Okay. In no particular order, but in alphabetical order. Mercury represents asthma. Interesting. Guess how the chest is communicating with the throat. That's hard to talk. Mercury represents amateurs, advisors, plan of communication. So this is like all the things that comes under it. Knowledge and information. This is more detailed characteristics. It represents bisexuality, because Mercury rules Gemini, which is duality. The twins, right? That makes sense. The brain, of course. Mercury represents boys, because because Mercury is a masculine planet. Mercury represents dictionaries, of course, concentration, mental concentration, cleverness, cousins in general. It's the duality of people, right? Represents twins too. Envelopes, essays. I'm reading random stuff, y'all. See if it just makes you understand Mercury more, though. Flexibility. It represents girls as well, with an S. So, like, because it represents duality, cousins, boys, girls, twins. Most of these things end in S. It represents idiots. Mental stuff. I'm gonna leave that alone. It represents keys, because you have more than one. It represents microphones, mirrors, because it's communication, and it's giving back information. Mirrors actually give us information on how we look every day, right? Newspapers, publishers, commentators, reporters, obituaries, pencils, professors, portfolios, research work, quotations. I'm looking all over the page. Satire, sarcasm, definitely sarcasm. Geminis are the rulers of sarcastic. Roller skates, because they have more than 2 wheels on each of them, right? Theories, thermometers, traffic. That's why when Mercury's in retrograde, there's always huge traffic. That's always why when Mercury's in retrograde, you should leave home to go to work early. And you should leave work early to go home. There's the word twins. Tutors, vehicles, small and light vehicles. Vibrations, whispering, whooping cough. I guess that also has to do with the asthma thing. This whole, yes. So Gemini represents the lungs. I do know that. The body part. And the shoulders and the arms, I believe. Worries, writers, youth, and young people, because Gemini is the 3rd sign, so young indeed. The first learners. That is Mercury's characteristics, some of them. Please check out this rulership book for more details. Holding the Pluto section we're getting ready to read is the moon, because the moon is currently in Scorpio. Pluto rules Scorpio. Enough said. This energy we're about to read is what the moon is giving, which is our emotions and how we react, and what Pluto is giving, which we'll read now and get into the signs Scorpio and Capricorn, so you can understand Pluto more and Pluto in Capricorn more. So we're reading the 2 planets that are up, and then the signs that the planet rules and the planet is in next, okay? But yeah, the moon is also the moon is being ruled by Pluto right now. So the planet ruler, whatever the sign is, because the moon changes signs, it'll be in Sagittarius late tonight, early in the morning. Whatever planet is ruling the sign that another planet is in charge of that planet. So right now, because Pluto's in Capricorn, Saturn is in charge of Capricorn. Because the moon is in Scorpio, Pluto is in charge of so it's like, one little example really quick, because Pluto represents death and fear. And we'll read a whole bunch of other stuff, but another cousin of my kids passed away on Friday night, got killed in D.C. Been big yelling and screaming, big Pluto energy. Police was at my house this past week because of this energy. Y'all already heard the story. Let's get into Pluto. And I'm not playing, y'all. The first word, do y'all see it? Because Pluto represents child trafficking too. Abduction. Anything that's hidden, fearful, intense. Abduction is the first word here. It represents the anus, because Scorpio, genitalia area, all that. And just deep, dark, hidden spaces. Anus. It represents abortions. Adulteration. This is hard to read, but this has been hard energy too. Which is why Scorpios are fearless sometimes. Sometimes they overpower themselves with fear. Antichrist, amnesia, the bad. Simply put, the bad. Atomic energy. Baldness, I guess so. Bladders, urinal bladders. Body, blood disorders. The contest between acid and alkaline in the body. This is deep because I've read this book, but it's been a while, and I definitely have looked at this before, but again, it's a lot. Burglars and burglary. Calamities, casualties, cemetery associations. Clitoris, again, because Scorpio represents the genital area. So penis is probably in here too. We'll see on the P page. Coroners, corpuses, crowds, crippled persons, crime, unorganized gang crimes, crippled persons, crosswalks, death, life after death, death rays, defiance, demons, derailing, all the DE words, detectives, definitely, because it's in me and it's not going nowhere, and when I'm ready to feel like I need to get rid of it and release it, I will, but I definitely am an investigator and a detective all day, online. Those who know Z, know Z. Dice, devils, disease in general, dishonor, dictators. Because Pluto helps you step into your power too, but do you do it wisely and positively? Electrocution, atomic energy, enzymes, filth, fiends, felons, foulness, guilt, hangman, havoc, hell, hemorrhoids, homicide, immortality, infamy. Kidneys, lower part of the lower part of the kidneys. Kidnapping, laser beams. Let me not skip the word kidnapping. Again, all the secrets are coming out, and we'll get to see if it's the word secret S, which I'm sure is in here when we get to the S section. Because because Pluto was in retrograde for 15 years on and off, because Pluto was in Capricorn for 15 years, the secrets are finally coming out because it's getting ready to switch. And when it switches, we'll have a whole nother episode on that before it happens next month. But when it switches, it'll be a whole new energy, but these things will be released fully. Then when it retrogrades back into Capricorn, that just means more stuff has to come out that wasn't fully made aware. But Truth or World, which is why I tap into the Truth or World so much, is why, because I know secrets are coming out. And this Pluto in Capricorn, this is the Pluto return. This is the time when the government was created, because Pluto represents the government. Let me go back. It represents authority too. But I'm sorry, Capricorn does. That's why it's not going to be here in Pluto. But Capricorn represents the government. And since Pluto was in Capricorn in 1776 when the government was established, it's now breaking down. It's transforming. All right. Manslaughter, marshes, lava. I think I said all those on the L and the M side. Morticians, mud, muck, mummies. Nuclear physicists, obscenities, odors, foul or evil places with foul odors. Passion. What was the P word I was looking for again, y'all? Pimples, plutonium, pollution, pests, and pest control. Which is probably why we had serious pests when we first moved in here. Prostate gland, purging, purification, puzzles, rats, rapes, rebirth, one of the main words. Why can't I think of the P word that I want? Policemen. Police are on the net right now, ain't they? I can't figure out what I was trying to see, and we're already 5.5 minutes in. Satan is on here. Rest, sacrifices, sadists, Sadist, however you say it. Secrets of every kind. That's the word I was looking for. Scorpions. But secrets of every kind, secret matters, secret and innermost emotions. Sensuality, severity, sewers. Y'all think of them tunnels. Is the word tunnels in here? Sloth, snakes, smut. Soul liberation and purification of soulmates. Stool pigeons. That's interesting. Suicides, swag. Ooh, when I go to the T section, let's read a few of these really quick, y'all. I'm gonna try to stop in the next minute. Television sets. Terrible, terrorist activity. Tobacco. Testicles, of course, is there. Yep. Toilets, tombs. Transformation is here. Transmutation, trash, treachery, treason. Turning points. Undertakers. Here we go with the U words. Underworld. Ungodliness. Unknown. Unluckiness. Unrighteousness. All the unwords. Untruths. Unworthiness. Urine. Vaginas. Vampires. Vanishing. Venom. Vice squads. Victims. Victims. There's a whole lot of victims that are about to be released from this energy. Wizards, worms, weeds, worthlessness, wrecks, writer investigating a reform movement or mass reaction. Writers and writings of sociological literature. X-rays, zero, zinc, and Zemergy is the last word. That is Pluto. I put Saturn as the book holder for Capricorn. Let's go through Capricorn, which is what Mercury was conjunct. Mercury was in Capricorn, conjunct Pluto in Capricorn at the latest degrees, 28 degrees on 2 days ago. Capricorn, first words is abandoned places. Capricorn and Scorpio have a lot of the same characteristics. Ashes, basements, black. Bones. Carpenters, caves, cemeteries. Capricorn represents death, y'all, and old stuff. Churches, old churches. Coffins, cold. Credit, one's credit. It represents December, of course, which is when it begins, Capricorn season. It represents dryness, dungeons, employers. Capricorn's about their money. FBI agents, which are going down. I don't believe FBI agents is really in here, y'all. Do y'all see that? Where does it say FBI agents? Right here. FBI agents. Gout, government officials, representatives, and activities. Government, the progress of. Government service, governors. It represents Greece, which is Greek for the boule that represents the Capricorn energy of the elite that is going down. So the Greek organizations, the fraternities and sororities, the boule, and I'm going to do a video on TikTok on boule today, is going down. All right. India, interesting. Lithuania, interesting. They do even places, people, I mean, things, everything in this rulership book, in this characteristics of each and every planet, sign, houses. It represents the knees, because Sagittarius represents the thighs, and that's in between. Scorpio representing the genitalia. So genitalia is Scorpio, thighs, Sag, and the knees, Capricorn. Represents jails, janitors. New Mexico, New Zealand. It represents a lot of places, Capricorn. Old age, old people, anything that is old and worn belong, old and worn out. The government is old and worn out. And the Aquarius energy, I can't wait to talk about that. It's humanity itself and being wise, but unique. All right. It represents polio, poplar trees, Egypt. Port said Egypt to be exact. Got to research on that. Pyramids. I'm not making this up, y'all. Pyramids is in here. If y'all know on the dollar sign, it's a pyramid because the dollar is old and worn out too and getting ready to cry, getting ready to crash. Reality is under here on Capricorn. Religion, the religious world, even though Sagittarius is too. Religious affiliations because they're all corrupt. Let me go back. Is corrupt on here? How do you spell corrupt? C-O or C-U? It's not on C-O. Carouse. I wonder what corrupt is. Maybe on Pluto. It represents Utah, where the Mormons are corrupt, from what I heard. Even though they helped me out one time, I heard from a close friend who comes from a family of them. Siberia, Texas. So I had to take a drink. So the last couple of words I wanted to say were vacant property, vaults, watches and watchmakers and repairs, woodsmen, where the wood is cut or piled. That is Capricorn. We're not going to have time to go into Scorpio because I haven't even gotten to talk about this actual conjunction. So let's get busy. And you heard enough energy and information about Pluto to know Scorpio is the same stuff. All right. So I started it on the ascendant because Pluto being the ruler of Scorpio, okay? I have the ascendant and the sun on Scorpio because this reading is going to be for those. So if you have the sun if you have the sun in Scorpio or your ascendant in Scorpio, you have Capricorn, 2 signs, because Capricorn is 2 signs after Scorpio. You have Capricorn. So here's the first house. You would have Capricorn, 2 houses. So your ascendant is always in the first house, okay? And Capricorn, this will be your Sagittarius house. This will be your Capricorn house. So we're talking about ascendants only because ascendants move with the moon. Knowing your time of birth is why we ask for the moon as well as your ascendant, because the houses move with the ascendant. So first house is the ascendant. 2 houses away is your Capricorn house. So thinking if you're a Scorpio rising, like Miss So Raw, the mind thinking, these are your life's purposes, okay? The mind, the way you think, communication, siblings, social activity. Siblings is important too, especially Miss So Raw. The way she communicates with her siblings. Social activities, being social, having interest, your neighbors, friends in general, right? Early education, all the things we read about, or you know about Gemini, because 3rd house is the Gemini house. Capricorn was here when you were born. Scorpio risings, okay? Scorpio ascendants. Rising is another word for ascendant. So Pluto, the planet of transformation, has been dealing with these life purposes with you for 15 years. How you're thinking, are you transforming it? Remember all the things, that's why we read all the things about Pluto. Are you transforming it? Have you been part of the abduction? Is your mind still there? Are you transforming that? Okay. And hopefully she's listening because this is super important. Are you transforming how you're thinking about all the Pluto energy that you've gotten with Pluto and Capricorn? Are you being responsible about it? Because Capricorn has to do with responsibility. Are you responsible how you communicate? Are you responsibly taking on transforming your... And I spoke with this. She has awful connections with her family. Do you, as a Scorpio ascendant listening, Scorpio rising person, do you have problems with your siblings? Do you have problems with being social? Doing activities toward your interest? Are you transforming that? Are you being responsible with it? I keep saying, are you transforming that? And are you being responsible with it? Because Pluto, Capricorn energy is that. Have you learned a lesson about what you learned earlier? And maybe you need to transform it based on the communication you had with Pluto and Capricorn? Are you being responsible about how you treat your neighbors? No, you're not, Miss O'Rock, because you used to rob your neighbors. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me stay focused. So I can't wait till we move off the people with Capricorn in the third house, which is Scorpio risings. Okay, let's move on. All right, let's talk about Libra risings. Libra is 1, 2, 3 spaces away from Capricorn. So if I'm a Libra rising, which I am, it'll be 1, 2, 3 houses from the first house. Again, first house is where your ascendant, your rising begins. So you will have, if you are a Libra ascendant like me, Capricorn in the 4th house. My life's purposes, and definitely have been showing this, okay? Home, how have I been transforming home? I have literally moved. I got divorced the first year Pluto was fully in Capricorn, which is 2009. Not divorced, but separated. So that's when my home situation started. Been homeless at least 2 to 3 times in the last 15 years. Where I had to live with people, live in hotels, on couches, rooming houses, all kinds of things. Where I came from, my mother definitely kept a stable home. I lived in literally 3 homes with my mother before I moved on my own when I was like 18, after college specifically when I was like 22. But my roots, like, you know, I didn't tap into that. I was literally told by the astrologer, Sunny, MF and Money, that there was no way I was going to be able to get my home until I worked on these life purposes. The Capricorn house. Capricorn also represents your midheaven, the 10th house, but we'll talk about that later. All right, so Scorpio risings, Scorpio ascendants, even Scorpio suns, but we're talking about risings with the houses. Self-care. Because I was at the beginning of Pluto and Capricorn, I was getting the separation from my ex-husband, literally, and it was my Saturn return. Literally, self-care went out the window. I mean, like, Libra rising, I'm gonna be pretty all the time, but I literally was unhealthy mentally, physically, emotionally, a lot. Was not self-caring myself. Was keeping myself looking cute. That was about it. Going back to family, created a new family within Pluto. Created my last child, right? Created a new family with a new man. Didn't do it the best way, but we're getting it together. My emotions. Been a little bit emotional. Been a little bit of a cold person. Remember, cold was on the word Capricorn when we were reading the Capricorn characteristics. Foundations, mother issues, also father issues. But 4th house is mother issues, 10th house is father issues. Transforming that. Literally, in the last couple of weeks, me and my mother have been doing much better. But since I left my ex-husband, we had a bad situation going on. Really. Neither one of them like that, my father or my mother. But you know, gotta set boundaries, gotta know what to expect, gotta stop putting myself in these positions with relationships. That's Libra stuff too. But my responsibility, my children, definitely was going through CPS a little too much while Pluto was in Capricorn in the last 15 years. And just stepping into my femininity was more stepping into my masculinity, and it was not transforming this stuff. Finally am, because Pluto is coming out of Capricorn, so things are getting easier, but I literally had to learn all these lessons, all these life purposes from my 4th house being in Capricorn. If that makes sense. Moving on. Virgo is a fellow earth sign, and Virgo is the ascendant, the rising sign we're getting ready to talk about. We're going backwards. We're going to go all the way around until we get back to Scorpio, and we'll stop at Sagittarius, of course. So 4 signs away. 1, 2, 3, 4 from Pluto. So if you were a Virgo rising, you would start at the 1st house and count 4 ahead. So Virgo risings have Capricorn in the 5th house. That is romance. And remember, when we're talking about these life lessons, what in the last 15 years Virgo risings have you gone through? And the only Virgo rising I know is my 10-year-old, so these kind of are not going to apply to her because she hasn't lived that much life in this life. But if you are Virgo rising, romance, love, affairs, play, creativity, fertility, childlike spirit, joy, self-expression, and drama. So you have been working on these purposes, life purposes, lessons for the last 15 years if you are a Virgo rising. How are you transforming your romance? How are you living in a childlike state, being self-expressive, playing, loving, creative? Have you had the children you wanted to have? That is Virgo rising. Leo rising, fellow fixed sign for those who have Scorpio risings, because we are the fixed signs, and Taurus risings, which two of my kids have, my stepdaughter and my son, and fixed air, which is Aquarius risings. But let's talk about the next fixed rising, which is Leo. Leo is how many signs from Capricorn? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we would start at the first house with the Leo rising. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have Capricorn in the 6th house. So what has been your life purposes and lessons with Pluto and Capricorn for the last 15 years in your Capricorn house? If you are a Leo rising, and Leo risings are mostly celebrities. Donald Trump is a Leo rising. I think Drake is a Leo rising. Most of the celebrities are Leo risings or Leo suns or have significant Leo placements. Have you transformed your health, fitness? Just speaking of Donald Trump, like, you all remember, and y'all know I'm a Trump supporter, yes, proudly say it. Definitely don't want to be no supporter of any of the other corruption in government. And remember, he was not the government. He was totally not a politician, totally a businessman. Anyway, remember when he used to bring the McDonald's sarcastically to the White House? He's transformed that. He even told us about not the jab, but the hydrochloroquine that would help us instead of the jab, right? So he transformed his health as a Leo rising. Fitness, systems, analytical nature, pets, work habits, business people would connect with this. Okay, this is the Virgo house, so catering to others' needs, especially yourself, that's your work habits. Organization, Virgos, planners, organizers, neat and tidy people, supposedly, hopefully. Sense of usefulness, so have to be doing something that gives them purpose. Earth signs, I'm sorry, I'm talking about Leo, but this is the Virgo house. When you tie your Capricorn energy, any earth signs, this is the Virgo house, so this is Earth house. We're talking about Capricorn in the 6th house, and Capricorn is an earth sign. So a lot of it's going to have to do with organizing so you can work efficiently and get money and be useful and service given, of course. So these have been your life's purposes if you are a Leo rising. Have you been transforming this? Are you useful? Or are you, if you're a celebrity with a Leo rising, are you giving unhealthy advice? Have you been giving false fitness tips? That's kind of general, but have you been showing like a good example of work habits? If you go to school, you can do this and this and that. You can give this service without going to school, really. Just be useful. Have you been transforming that, Leo rising? Let's move on. All right, going to the other cardinal, the opposition sign of Capricorn, which is Cancer risings. Cancer risings, so cardinal energy, leadership energy. I forgot to say that Libra is cardinal energy too when I was talking about my own rising. So this is the 3rd ascendant in a cardinal sign. All right. We're talking about Cancer. So Cancer at the 1st house. Cancer is exactly 6 degrees because it's the opposite sign. 6 signs, away from Capricorn. So we're going to go from the 1st house to the 7th house. 6 signs away. 1 plus 6 is 7. Have you been transforming your relationships? This is the Libra house. Your marriage, contracts, business partners, equality, sharing, and interpersonal style. Have you, with Pluto in Capricorn in the last 15 years, been transforming your relationships with others? This is so important because Capricorn represents money matters, so even your business partners, have you been having situations with that where you had to keep learning your lessons? Your marriage, Capricorn represents the father, Cancer represents the mother. This is a Cancer rising reading with Capricorn in the 7th house. I need more information about interpersonal style. The sharing and equality, like, are you fair with your money? Are you fair with how you're transforming yourself as far as it comes to these relationships you're building? In Cancer, risings are generally nurturing people, but it might have been some problem with this and where you just had to tweak something, transform something in order to make these things pop off for you. That is Cancer rising. All right, I'm putting the ascendant on Gemini. We're back to mutable. I gotta move this up. You see this lady, the one who made this? I needed some more Velcro, and I'm gonna get that, and we're gonna fix this so we can put these signs out here so that you all can see the duality of the twins here in Gemini. So we have the ascendant on Gemini. My oldest daughter is a Gemini ascendant. Gemini is, this was 6 signs away. This is 7 signs away from Capricorn. Okay, so you put the Gemini ascendant on 1, you go 7 signs away. We're at the 8th house. The 8th house is the Scorpio house. Y'all ready for this one? Whew. And again, I'm talking about the Gemini that I know that has the ascendant, the rising sign of Gemini, is my daughter, who just was intimate as AF this year and had a baby. Because this also represents, it doesn't say here, but the 8th house represents fertility as well, so 5th. Because the 8th house, Scorpio energy, genitalia energy, sex, created a baby. All right, shared finances. We both got a big PVP loan while Pluto was in Capricorn. In the last 15 years, but my daughter got it in the most mysterious way because she was literally 19 when it hit. Assets, properties. She's a Taurus sun, and having a Gemini with Capricorn and all this stuff right here, just big transformation with my daughter right here. But let me read this for the other Gemini, the other Gemini ascendants, the other Gemini risings. Merging, sex, intimacy, shared finances. Have you been transforming your taxes? Loans. Has there been any like lessons with assets and properties and joint ventures? Have you been transforming your goals? The mysteries of life. Scorpio stuff, y'all. And your partner's resources. So she has a boyfriend who has her child's father, who recently told me that his credit is great. So my daughter's been capitalizing on that. But anyway, long story short, transform these if you are a Gemini rising. Learn the lessons from these. Back to fix. We're here at the Taurus ascendant. This is my daughter Imani, my stepdaughter Imani, and my son have Taurus risings. That would be, if you put Taurus on the ascendant, 8 signs away from Capricorn, you'll have Capricorn in the 9th house. Okay? Travel, wisdom, philosophy, higher education. Shout out to Imani, finally graduated this year too, or in 2022. Law and religion. And my son is ahead of the game in high school, in homeschool. Religion, cross-cultural relations, learning, ethics. This is the Sagittarius house. So Taurus risings have Capricorn in the 9th house, which is the Sagittarius house. All things that are transforming. My son's learning, definitely transforming from the school building to homeschool. Imani, and this is one thing that I can say both of them haven't done enough of, and I'm sure when they do go out of town and travel and see other places, you kind of reap the beauty of traveling is that you find out things that give you the wisdom, that give you the higher education from experience, okay? My son decided to stop going to church, and I don't go to church anymore because it's corruption in church. So transform that. My daughter Imani's not in the church either. So they're doing good as far as being Taurus rising. They're doing good with, I feel like they're doing good with their Capricorn house, the 9th house. If you are a if you are a Taurus rising, hopefully you are doing good as well. You've learned your lessons. If not, transform them. Pluto in Capricorn is allowing you another month to get this together. I counted the Aries house. That's why we need to go over it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm sorry. I counted the ascendant instead of just starting with the next one. So it's 9 houses away because we were just on the Sagittarius house with Taurus rising. If you have an Aries rising, 9 houses away will be your Capricorn house, 10th house. 10th house again has to do with the MC. We'll have to talk about that later because I'm way into probably an hour and I need to get to what we're eating. So Aries risings, again, my mother's an Aries rising. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Aries is a cardinal fire sign. 10th house, career, long-term goals, structure, status, reputation. This is the Capricorn house, okay? So this is Capricorn house. Aries have Capricorn in their 10th house, Aries rising. Public image, masculinity, men, father, experts, fame. Have you been having issues? My mother is 77 years old. Her father's been passed away when she was 19. Masculinity, my mother has not had a boyfriend in a while. Her boyfriend's died, actually, the last one she had. My mother's career has definitely excelled. She's a Taurus sun, Aries rising. She has leadership skills and definitely won't have money. Long-term goals. My mother has insurance and money tucked away for days. Definitely has set structure in our life. The only thing I can say is that because me and my mother were arguing because of my stuff that I was talking about in my 4th house with Capricorn, right? I had the mother issues. Her having the Aries thing, so that kind of brought some, like, my feelings about her reputation that she actually has worked on so that we can have a better relationship. Public image. My mother is in the church. She's been a DC public schools teacher and a PD teacher for years, so my mother has this down pat. And just, you know, Aries energy is intense too. So my mother can get very intense. She can step into her masculine. Again, she got divorced from my father in the 90s. None of her boyfriends really and me associated ourselves with each other. So she literally had a lot of masculine energy, being just a little too much for me, but has worked on that as well, softened up. My mother's an expert on a lot of stuff, but still doesn't know it all. Thinks she does, but she's easing up on that. And fame, DC fame, I would say. That is for people who have Aries risings. You have Capricorn in the 10th house. Are you transforming any of this for yourself? Are you learning lessons from any of this if you are Aries rising? 10th house. All right, we're 4 more to go. Mutable water, Pisces is the last sign. These are Pisces risings, Pisces ascendants reading for you. So Aries, Capricorn was in Aries, Pisces. Let me count it back for your Pisces is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 away, 10 signs away from Capricorn. So if you're a Pisces rising, you would start here. You would 10 plus 1 plus 10 is the 11th house. You have Capricorn in the 11th house. Pluto and Capricorn has been transforming for you groups, friends, social awareness, humanitarianism, technology, hopes, and wishes for the future. I do not know any Pisces risings offhand, but if you have a Pisces rising, you have Capricorn. These are the things that you have been working on with Pluto and Capricorn the last 15 years. What who you're associating with, are you transforming that? The friends you have, the social awareness you have. This is the Aquarius house. The humanitarianism that you take. Are you transforming what you give to society and how you live in society? Are you aware of that? Has it been hard for you to seek your hopes and wishes for the future? Has technology been tough for you? Do you have issues with that? Or are you soaring in any of this? See, the houses represent lessons, but they also represent what you might soar in, which is why I read from the point of my mother having an Aries rising with Capricorn in the 10th house, because she has definitely been working on this or already is top dog in it as a 77-year-old woman almost, okay? But going back to Pisces rising, you can either need transforming with this or you have transformed them and you're doing awesome. That goes for all the risings and all the life purposes here. If you need to either transform these lessons and purposes in life, or either you need to do some more in the other houses because you have mastered that house. If you have an Aquarius ascendant, and I don't know any of you all offhand either. Aquarius ascendants are 11 houses away. So that would be, if you have an Aquarius rising, Aquarius ascendant, you are, because right next to, we're almost there, right? You're 11 houses away. So 1 plus 11 is 12. You have Capricorn in the 12th house. And I'm going to do an excerpt with using the ruler book about the 12th house, because the 12th house is a lot more than this. The Pisces house, the last house. Have you been transforming, or have you already transformed? Endings, healing, closure, spirituality, solitude, karma, old age, afterlife. What is hidden? This is the transformation that's the most important in the 12th house. Meaning, are you working on exposing or realizing, not having a delusional aspect on what's hidden? Are you noticing? Are you paying attention? Limiting beliefs. Are you transforming these? Are you stuck in one way? Because 12th house Pisces is a mutable sign. You're supposed to adjust. You're not supposed to limit your beliefs. And are you checking your subconscious? This is why the 12th house is way bigger than this, because this word alone is a lot. So with Pluto and Capricorn the last 15 years, have you done the work to learn these lessons? And if you have, good for you. Good for you, because this is a lot. This is a lot. The afterlife was hidden, subconscious, endings, healing. This is a lot. So shout out to the Aquarius ascendants, those who have ascendant in Aquarius. I think I do know. Maybe it's an Aquarius moon, I'm not sure. But as I think about this person who I think has the ascendant, Aquarius ascendant, I do know that they've gone through this, a lot of this. All right, we're moving to the Capricorn ascendant. So of course, if you have Capricorn ascendant, that would be the first house, because your ascendant is always in your first house. So first house is Aries. So we're reading the opposite of when the Aries ascendants were in the 10th house, because that's the Capricorn house. Now the Capricorn ascendants are in the Aries house, the first house. Have you been transforming? And I do not know any Capricorn ascendant people that I can think of. Have you been transforming yourself, your appearances, beginnings, because first sign, first house, the body, first impressions, your attitude, your identity, and your approach to life? Have you, as the Capricorn ascendant, with Pluto and Capricorn the last 15 years, been stepping into your Capricorn energy, but intensely in the first house? Have you been concentrating on these things? And if you have, awesome. You should get a lot of money out of that, because Capricorn represents money. If you take time to pay attention to the body these last 15 years, if you have been paying attention to self and how you appear, right? Because that's what the first house is. Your ascendant comes from how you come across. How do you come across? That's why the first house and everybody's rising sign, everybody's ascendant represents these things right here. And if you handle these things with your ascendant, like me, I'm a Libra ascendant, so I'm definitely into myself. I'm definitely into beauty and my first appearances and first impressions. Definitely got that down pat. If you were like a Taurus one, how you show people you got money, how you show people that, you know, you eat healthy. That's for Taurus risings, right? If you have a Gemini rising, you are, and I'm just doing this off just the first house, not talking about Capricorn right now, but if you're a Gemini rising, how, like my daughter is, appearances is definitely important to her, and she communicates, because Gemini risings communicate well. She gives, not well, but she's working on that, just getting better, right? But her appearance is always on point as a Taurus sun and a Gemini rising. And she communicates that well. Like, she lets us know, I got to get this to look right, and this, and that. And I know what I'm talking about. But anyway, back to Capricorn ascendants. You should be doing really well in this as having Capricorn in your first house, because you are a Capricorn ascendant. All right, we're at the end. We started at Scorpio, so we're finishing at Sagittarius ascendants. So that would be the second house. Sagittarius is one house away, one sign away from Capricorn. So we're moving one sign away from the ascendant and being in Capricorn to the ascendant being in Sagittarius. The second house, the Taurus house, the money house, money, work, income. I don't know any Sagittarius ascendants offhand, but have you been transforming with Pluto and Capricorn the last 15 years? Your money, your work, the work you do, your income, your daily routines. Remember I said this is the Taurus house, another earth sign. Earth signs are about money and work. Taurus is second house. You see money and work there. 10th house, long-term goals, reputation, right? Public image, that's money, fame. That's the Capricorn house. These earth sign houses don't play. The 6th house, work habits, usefulness, service given. Earth signs do not play. Sorry, the camera's so foggy. Let's wrap this up. Sagittarius ascendant. What have you been transforming with Pluto and Capricorn the last 15 years? In the second house of money, work, income, daily routines, values, personal possessions, priorities, habits, your job, and work ethic. I do know a Sagittarius ascendant. The God, not the God, the devil. The goddaughter who put me out. Transform money. Definitely been working from home, hard worker, right? But the daily routines of like smoking every day and stuff, the habits, right, needed to be transformed. Couldn't keep the work, couldn't keep the income coming, relying on others for income. Your job and work ethic. So yeah, gotta have a positive attitude. She was a Scorpio. She is a Scorpio sun and had a Sagittarius rising and a Sagittarius moon. Gotta with Capricorn in the second house as a Sagittarius rising, gotta pay attention to like the material possessions. That's hoarding. Had way too much stuff and would blame it on me and my kids when we lived with her, because again, remember, my Capricorn was working on these things. I was moving around and dealing with family issues and all that kind of stuff, children, women issues. So when I was living with my goddaughter who has a Sagittarius rising, noticing her work ethics and how she smoked every day and had a house full of just possessions, just hoarding, it wasn't working out for her. It wasn't working out for me, so I switched homes. So that's just a little example of a Sagittarius rising that I knew that had some things to work on, as far as, and her home was full of mice too. So just priorities, you know, instead of going to get that weed, take care of the, you know, use the 6th house stuff, fellow earth house, to work on service given, health. Anyway, that is Sagittarius rising. Whew, I hope that wasn't too long for y'all. Thank you for chilling with me. I'm sure it's past 11:11. Wanted to say happy 11:11, but need to get the movement. It is 11:28, so it's almost 11:11 when it hits 11:29. I am TMZ, teaching everyone abundantly, empowering many is the key, enlightening every day. This is Get a Life Astrology. We were talking about ascendant today, going through the houses. I normally don't go through the houses, so that's why I was so long-winded. Really was just going off the top of my head using my resources, which is the Life's Purpose House Wheel and my knowledge of Pluto in Capricorn. And how, because it took so long, the conjunction with Mercury in Capricorn that I took down, the conjunction, I'm not sure, I put it right here. The conjunction was the information that I just gave you. Some of y'all probably didn't want to hear what I just gave you. Some of y'all probably feared what I was going to say about your rising sign. Okay? But this is for transformation purposes only. Blending these two energies. Blending the tough energies of finding out information with Mercury and then transforming it through power, not fear, is why we sat here and I sat here for an hour and made this video. And I'm going to drive Uber Eats and put this video out by tonight after I edit it all. But seriously, take this seriously, y'all. Especially if you're here, share this information, follow me, share with a friend and ask them to follow me. Let's get this energy going. I'm not trying to toot my own horn because I'm not the best astrologer. I shouted out a whole bunch of astrologers, books you can research and use. But it's going to be a time coming up soon y'all going to need us more than you need the news, fake news telling you the weather that they're controlling in the air. You're going to need the energies daily from astrology reports. So shout out to y'all. Shout out to Cam White, who normally puts his astrology report out every Sunday that I'm about to watch for the weekly energies. Take notes, align with them, compare them, and share them with you all soon. This is Get a Life Astrology, growing into divine adults, loving yourself forever is Get a Life, what it means. And aren't we all growing? Just because we're adults doesn't mean we're finished growing. We're not finished growing until we're underground, under the roots. This body, because our energy lasts forever. And once you know all that, and you find out from those who know, like myself, haven't y'all watched me excel? Haven't I finally used my own teachings and findings and resources and fourth house energy in Capricorn to finally elevate my own self? I'm not talking bullcrap here. I'm not dwelling in my sorrows. I vented and I moved on. We got work to do, y'all. Capricorn is work. Earth signs is work. I'm a Capricorn moon. Scorpio sun, Capricorn moon. My emotions is about work. I'm about to go out, get over my emotions, get this money, keep life moving forward always. Peace. Love y'all.